Ladies and gentlemen, this is Brennan Lee with Consciousness and Skill Worldwide, founded by Peter Ralston. Welcome back. Oh, yeah. Victor. Question. I've noticed that I feel the need and the urge to socialize, and I also feel that my life has no worth unless I accomplish something in the social domain, work. This force is incredibly powerful, and I notice this on everybody else around me too. It seems to me that I cannot feel whole and complete unless I do something to serve others or the world in general. Is this true? Some insight on this would be much appreciated. Cool. Hey, thank you for the question. I'm just going to say some stuff. I hope it's insightful. So what I've noticed for myself, for example, this wholeness and completeness aspect is that, well, I guess first of all, I can definitely relate to a feeling of if I'm not out in the world doing something for me personally, I feel kind of like a turd. I don't, I'm like, hey, I'm not really worth much. I'm not producing anything. I'm not out there getting stuff done. Like if I become sedentary, I definitely notice that my mood is affected. I may experience a depression, and all I mean by that is like a different type of mindset that isn't necessarily happy, but more lethargic and kind of dumpy feeling, depressed feeling. And if I'm not doing stuff, so I definitely can relate to that. And then also, like regarding the wholeness and completeness thing, I have noticed a relationship. So for example, if you're familiar with the ICG or increasing consciousness groups, we have that first operating principle is self-expansion versus self-contraction. And I don't mean self-contraction like being an introvert. I mean self-contraction that the sense of self is inverted and contracted into itself. See, this is more of an existential consideration regarding self. It's like contracted inward, and there are consequences to being contracted inward, like not feeling as worthwhile, likely lower self-esteem. The me self-identification, the individual, see what I'm identified with gets ensmallened. I know that's a really weird word and it does not exist, but I just made it up, okay? As opposed to embiggened. You see, if I'm contracted all into myself, especially if I'm totally contracted into my inner world, stuff can get weird in there, And so that has an impact on my what? On what exactly? My sense of self, the person. Why? Because that's what it is doing. Like it's contracted inward, so it becomes small. You see, and then there's consequences of that. And then conversely, you see, when you talk about in here, I cannot feel whole and complete unless I do something to serve others or the world in general. You see, I would postulate, again, I would have to, one, if I was working with you live, it would behoove me to question you more about what your experience of this wholeness and completeness is. Okay, I would actually go there first before I say anything, but I don't have that opportunity. I mean, I could create, okay, that's an excuse. I could create the opportunity, I'm just not going to. So I would question you, what is this wholeness and completeness? And then I suspect that the wholeness and completeness that you feel is likely a sense of that yourself is bigger than a little one. You see, you are bigger than your inner problems. Because why? Because you aren't living for just you. You're living for more than just serving a little one. You're serving who? Who are you serving? You see? Others. They're not you. This has to lead to a sense of being bigger. I can't really see how it can't. A sense of wholeness and completion and fulfillment even would likely accompany this shift in perspective or this shift in awareness. Because I noticed that for myself, even, for example, just shooting the video, like to bring it live, like right now, just shooting this video is, in a sense, a service to others. It's like, yes, it's what I'm passionate about. But you see, so then we can take a look, well, how do I feel during the day? Maybe say before I shoot the video, like, do I want to shoot the video? No, I'd rather sit down, watch TV or something. Say, just considering, It's not necessarily the case, although maybe. But now how do I feel about myself? And when I'm in the action of shooting a video, you see, I'm on purpose creating a mindset that is a little more lively. I'm talking to you. I'm trying to be clear, honest. I'm doing my best to show up authentically. You see, and what kind of state does that produce in me? You see, I feel a little bit better about myself. I'm making something for somebody else. You see, you asked me this question. I feel like I'm doing you a service. Like, how do I feel about myself when I'm doing that? It's obvious to me that there's an impact. You see, so this feeling of wholeness and completion, I can definitely see in my imagination so far, I can see a correlation between service of others and a feeling sense of fulfillment, wholeness, completion, these kinds of things. So if that's the insight you're looking for, I hope that's helped somewhat. And then, as always, I invite you to take a look and consider more deeply for yourself, what is really going on that there is completion and fulfillment, Now, in terms of the need, you see let me see if there's a need here. So I've noticed that I feel the need and urge to socialize. Yeah, that's incredibly strong, okay? Just if we're to stop right there and do socializing, sorry, I didn't do that first. I didn't do it in order, but we're getting back to it now. Socializing, that is so strong. You see, of course you feel the urge and the need to do that. Just take a look at how strong that is. Now, why we do that, I have no idea. But that we do it, I get it, and that how strong it is, holy crap. See, for example, imagine going out in a public place and taking all your clothes off and dancing in front of everybody. You would likely not do that. Now, unless you do, but that means that your socializing is aligned to be that weirdo or whatever, then you would do that. And you might even be driven to do that, okay? But that's still social. So somebody who's totally driven to be naked and dance out in the street, I would challenge you, okay, get dressed up and go out in the street then. Or something that you would absolutely not do in front of other people. Go do that in front of them. You won't do it because social is really strong stuff. So you're not going to go in a restaurant and, as Peter invites people to do, I believe, in the Transcending Self e-course, go into a restaurant and start acting like a monkey, and you'll start to see how strong that is. Okay? So yes, of course you're going to feel that urge to socialize. That's a very powerful force. And I also feel that my life has no worth unless I accomplish something in the social domain. Work, yes. We operate in a social domain. See, you're not listening to this video outside of social domain. Outside of social, we're not talking. See, we live in social. We don't live in objects. We live in a conceptual social domain. And when I say conceptual, I don't want you to think of something that is in any way weak. It's massively strong. And it doesn't exist anywhere except in our experience, but we can't pinpoint it like an object. And yet it dominates the entire experience. You cannot watch this and not hear me talking. And if you don't speak this language, there's no way you're watching this if you have language. And even if you don't understand what I'm saying, you still know I'm saying something. See, that's so strong. So yes, we live within that, and then yes, you're working within that, and then you may not feel a sense of fulfillment if you're not doing something to serve others. Reference the beginning of the video or what I said before. You see, you are serving others, and that is a byproduct of your self-expanding, and along with that comes that fulfillment. At least it does for me. You see, when I'm really not serving my own self-interest and I'm really being as if dominated by others, I'm in service to them, I'm not in service to my stupid crap. It's irrelevant at that point. And that feels really good to do. You see, or like in the martial arts sometimes, if I really align with a principle, it's less about me and more about the principle. And how do I feel when I really get into that? It's freeing. It's actually liberating, powerful, fulfilling. Okay? So there's some stuff there. I hope that's helped you. And then, is this true? See, I want to be a smart ass here. Ultimately, nah, none of it's true. So don't worry about it. But then in terms of relative truth, just take a look for yourself, and then I would postulate, yes, that's perhaps one way to achieve that fulfillment is in service of others. Or you could be in service of, to think about it a different way, a master craftsman perhaps is in service to like the princess, say like a master artist. They maybe not doing the work for other people if they aren't. Maybe they're doing the art just for themselves, but even then they have to be in service to the art. Or like a master, somebody's like a master martial artist, is in service to the principles that he lets or she lets the principles dominate their body and mind. They're in service to that because that's what's functional, effective, and powerful. And the act of being in service to that, even though it's not necessarily helping others, you see, it's destroying others. That's the whole purpose of martial arts. There's still liberation in that, so to speak, and a sense of fulfillment and not self-directed, as if small self. You see, it's not me. That's perhaps where the power lies. So that I wanted to hit these other examples and directions and maybe break it open a little bit because it's not necessarily, I don't think, I'm just considering it, that it necessarily has to be in service to others, but it has to be in service to something that's not me. And that's where the goodies are. Not me as an individual. So yeah, I hope that's helped you. Thanks for the question. Brendan Lee with Consciousness and Skill Worldwide, founded by Peter Rawlinson. If you want to check out more stuff, please see the links in the description. You're invited to more. Thank you very much. Take care.